Gang of people were working all over town, downtown, working at all the speakeasies. And then we got together and we started having jam sessions. Everybody, fiddler, we call him the fiddler. Fiddler was playing. And we all used to go to the jam session and everybody would get up and do their style. Everybody was swinging pretty good. So they got a radio station here. They didn't have nobody there to work on the radio station. They didn't have no music, live music. So they used to come by the nightclubs and let us play. And we'd broadcast. And we got together. The station went all the way to New York, all over the country. And people used to hear us on the radio, and a lot of people started coming in town, musicians, and everything coming to Kansas City. Kansas City was jumping then, was on fire.
So it's a lot of great fond memories of Kansas City, saying 18th Street, 12th Street, and all like that, because live music was the thing then. You know, you very seldom you could walk in a joint and hear a jukebox playing. They were there, but they was just there as an ornament, that's all. But you hear jazz any place you go, and you could, what we used to call door hopping all the way down from Benton Boulevard all the way down to Charlotte, on both sides of the street back. And we used to do that all the time. And every place you went had some kind of little jazz thing in there. It wasn't nothing but piano and drum. So we really grew up with jazz, regardless whether you could go in the place or not. You could hear it.
To me, it was more dreamlike, more enigmatic. I mean, I can remember coming down on 18th Street as a small child and we were on our way to the Lincoln Theater. My older brother was taking me to the movie. And I mean, it was probably one of the most exciting times I ever had in my small childhood. It probably didn't much happen, but I was so excited. I mean, my heart was just beating like I don't know what. We started out at 18th and Woodland and walked all the way down to the Lincoln Theater. We got to the Gym Theater and we kind of loitered there for a while. And it was fascinating. I can always remember that, I mean, it just, as a small child, it just seemed like there was a galaxy of lights just lighting up the whole area. There were people just walking everywhere. It seemed like, I mean, the whole black community of Kansas City, for some unknown reason, had come down on 18th and Vine at that particular time. And I was so young, I couldn't figure out what they were all doing there, you know? And, I mean, even the smells. I remember smelling the crayfish and the what do you call them, the spiced potatoes and the crawdads. I remember smelling the barbecue, and as we stood out in front of the Gym Theater, I remember smelling the popcorn, you know? Little things like that. I remember just standing there and hearing the hustle and bustle and the commotion of people going by. And I mean, it seemed like there were more cars on the road than there were people walking down the streets, you know? It was just, to me, like I said, it seemed like the whole black community of Kansas City had converged upon 18th Street. It was a fascinating experience for me as a young child, a very fascinating experience.
Oh, Kansas City was practically the same as Vegas then. It didn't nothing close. Everything was open all night, and so you didn't, you know, people get up at 11 or 12 o'clock to go party. It was quite a city.
Early 30s, late 20s, and in those days they never had air conditioning, and those doors were wide open. And here they had all this great jazz coming out of those doorways and everything, and I heard it and I got hooked for it. I said, this is it. I'm gonna go this route, man. So I went down to 4th and Cherry and opened up a club called the Hey Hey Club, because I found out there wasn't too many blacks working in white joints. Now, at that time, Edward G. Robinson and George Raft and all them were making gangster movies, so I went down to the heart of Gangsterland and opened up this club, which had been a feed barn before that, and made a nightclub out of it, and people used to sit on bales of hay and drink off of barrels. And I put Jesse Price and his band in down there, and went over so big that within a year there was 200 places from Broadway to Brooklyn, 12th, 15th, and 18th, with all black entertainment was really swinging. And we had cats around then like Andy Kirk and Jay McShann and Benny Moten and Count Basie. And you could go in any one of these 200 places and get a shot of whiskey and a beer chaser for a quarter and hear these bands and see a floor show.
They danced together, and with the rhythm and the finesse of knowing how to dance with each other. And if you hit that floor, people, a lot of times, you could draw attention. I've seen people I know my age, and I'm 80 right now, that were good dancers. I mean, they were, it was something to
Tell
look
them
at.
about the caller they had.
Huh?
Tell them about the caller.
Well, now that was in George Lee. Yeah, they were called if you're going to do a waltz and three-step, or you do let's see,
Foxtrot.
Foxtrot. Yeah, the guy go around on the stand and put up what they were going to play
Really?
next. Yeah, what you're dancing to.
That was the dance agenda.
That was a dance in general, and it was so much atmosphere. It's so amazing, and I'll stop now after I say the difference that the Second World War made in our way of life and our trend. Like,
Two things would happen here that I really got a thrill out of. That was Halloween night. Everybody was parading, and they'd have a big dance up to the Lincoln Hall here. And then Easter night, the Easter Eve, that Saturday night, you couldn't stir the people with a stick on 18th and Vine. Mm-hmm. And then that Sunday afternoon, you could just stand on the corner and you see all the guys come. But see, you wouldn't come out unless you had a suit, a hat, and a pair of shoes with white stitches on them.
Oh.
See, and they would shine, and if you didn't have that, well, you wouldn't come out. You tell everybody I was sick. Well, the reason you were sick, you didn't have enough money to buy that front with, And so that was some of the greatest memories. Just to stand and look and to know, and and you was amongst all of those youngsters, and see, we all like to dance. I never will forget it. Now, he had a brother that we would go up to the Lincoln Hall, and he could dance. He was so smooth, he would put a glass of water on top of his head and dance all the way around the Lincoln Hall. Cause everybody, and he was a girl was named, he danced with the name of Vera Dumas, and everybody says, I'm gonna do the Richard Pitts and the Vera Dumas, and they'd put a glass on there. He may not go over about 2 or 3 steps, and the glass would fall off, But they were, it was some smooth dancers in. I could dance in myself. Not bragging, but I could hold my own.